Hello friends, welcome to IITN's GATE classes. We are continuing with the series of lectures. We have started one crash course on YouTube platform for our instrumentation engineering students, and I am taking the full series of lectures in the form of crash course of sensors and industrial instrumentation. Today we are in the third lecture. Two lectures have already been uploaded on the YouTube. Our YouTube channel is IITN's GATE classes. You can go and check. So we are in the third lecture of the series, and this is the part two of static and dynamic characteristics of the sensor. Okay, so let's move forward. So what we have studied in the last two lectures, let's recap quickly. In the first lecture, we started with the introduction to the instrumentation system. There we studied the block diagram of instrumentation system. We have taken few examples of the sensor, and then we tried to understood how the input is getting processed and send the data is sent to the measuring device or the display devices. From there we can measure, analyze and control the variable. Then moving forward, we started with the lecture 2, and the lecture 2 was static and dynamic characteristics of the sensor. So basically here we focused on the static characteristics mainly, and today we are here with the dynamic characteristics of the sensor. So today we will start the dynamic characteristics, and if there will be any part, then if something is left, then we can cover in the part 3 of the. So today we are in the part 2, and if there is something missing, then we can go with the part 3 of the static and dynamic characteristics of the sensor, right? So in the full series of courses, in the full course, I used to take nearly 6 to 9 hours of the lecture for dynamic characteristics of the sensor, where we used to solve uh, more than 20 to 25 questions on the dynamic characteristics. But since we are in the crash course, so we have to finish it in quick time with good quality questions and concepts, right? So let's move forward. So today we will start, although we have started with the dynamic characteristics and what we have studied in the last class, we have differentiated between a static and dynamic characteristics. So in static characteristics, we have studied, but in dynamic characteristics, we have just touched the topic and we have not went into the details of the topic, but still, so let's start today. In dynamic characteristics, what we are basically finding, we are finding the dynamic response of any sensor, and it describes the way in which element respond to the sudden input changes. So what I told in the last lecture is that if we are having any sensor, and if you want to find the dynamic characteristics, so basically finding the dynamic characteristics or dynamic response, meaning how the input is responding, how the sensor is responding to the input. So if this is my input, how the sensor is going to respond, this is my response. So if the input is varying slowly, then you can say that those characteristics are going to be static characteristics. And if the input is varying suddenly, like some step response kind of thing, I will take few examples when we go and solve some numericals today, after some time, then it will be easy to understand how the step input or how sudden input are being how the sudden input are being applied to the sensor, right? So basically what we have to determine, first we have to determine the transfer function of the sensor. And once we are done with the mathematical modeling and find the transfer function, then we will apply various inputs like step input, ramp input, sinusoidal input, and then we will analyze the response. And that response we used to call it dynamic response of the sensor. Okay, so this is our aim. We have to analyze the behavior of the system with respect to inputs that vary suddenly, So dynamic characteristics or response can be categorized into two categories: time domain response and frequency domain response. Okay, so let's say if this is my temperature sensor, so this side the input will be, what should be the input? The input will be temperature. change in temperature. So let's say if the initial my temperature is 0 degrees Celsius and suddenly it increased to 50 degrees Celsius. So how the input waveform will look like? The input waveform will look somehow like this. So you can see here is that sudden input changes is happening. Sudden input change is happening. Sudden input change is happening, and and you have to apply this input and find the response. So to find the response, first you have to find, this is black box for you. As of now, this is black box for you. So you have to determine what is inside this. So you have to model this sensor in terms of certain time constant and frequency terms like that. So that you can do some mathematical modeling to find the transfer function. So how you can find the transfer function? You have to do the mathematical modeling to find the transfer function. Once you found the transfer function, then you have to apply this input and get the response, right? So for this step response, and for and any input you will apply ramp input like this, or you will apply sinusoidal input like this, and you will find the response, right? So response will depend on how your input is there, what type of input you are applying to the sensor. Based on that, you will find the response. So basically, if you see how we are going through time domain and frequency domain analysis. So for this sensor, if the independent variable is going to be time, then you can say that the input is going to be time domain input, and the response is going to be time domain response or time response analysis. Similarly, in the frequency domain response or analysis, the input is going to be here in the input, the independent variable is going to be frequency. With respect to frequency, your input is changing, correct? Okay, so in summary, if I have to tell, then in general, if you have step input, if you have ramp input, if you have parabolic input, then the response that you will get is time domain response. If you are having sinusoidal input, then the response you will get is frequency domain response. Okay. So in order to study and find the dynamic response of a particular sensor with respect to a defined or certain input like step, ramp, or parabolic or sinusoidal, there are basically two steps involved. In first step, what you will do, you will obtain the mathematical model of the system. As I told, since now this is a black box for you, this is a black box for you. So if you apply any input, you're not going to get any response. You're not going to get any response. So for that, you have to do some mathematical modeling to find the transfer function. So the first step is to obtain the mathematical model of the system. So by doing the mathematical modeling, you will find the transfer function. Once you get the transfer function, this is no more a black box for you. So this is going to be somewhat, let's say for first order system or temperature sensors, you are going to get the transfer function like this: k by 1 plus s tau, where tau is the time constant and k is the gain. Okay. So once you obtain the mathematical model, then you have to apply various inputs and get the output as dynamic response. So now here you will apply step input and obtain the response. Here you will apply ramp input, obtain the response. Here you will apply sinusoidal input and obtain the response. So for these two cases, you will get time response, time response this side. And for sinusoidal input, you will get sinusoidal or frequency domain response. I hope these things are clear to you. Okay, I am going little fast so that we can cover much more content in a less time. So let's start with the first order instruments. Basically, we will study first order and second order instrument. We will limit ourselves to first order and second order instrument. We will not go to the higher order instruments. And first order instrument, thermal sensors are very important. If you have gone through the previous year question, then in measurements as well as instrumentation, you're going to get um, more than around 10 or 12 questions have been asked till date for from the thermal sensors dynamic response analysis, right? So let's start with the first order instrument. I am taking the example as the thermal sensors, right? So you know what all steps are there in order to find the dynamic response. The first step is to do the mathematical mathematical modeling. And why we are doing mathematical modeling? Because we don't want our sensor to be a black box. We want here we want a mathematical model of the sensor. So this is a black box as of now. If you apply any input, you are not going to get any output. So you have to find the transfer function. This is the first step. You have to do the mathematical modeling to find the transfer function. Once you found the transfer function, then you have to apply various inputs and find the response. You have to apply various inputs and find the response. Okay. So since we are here with the we have taken the example of the thermal sensor. So in general, how the diagram will look like for a thermal sensor. If this is my bathtub or any water kind of thing. So let's say this is my bathtub. Okay. So fluid is here. There would be certain temperature of the fluid. Let's say the initial temperature of the fluid is going to be 10 degree Celsius. Now you have to put your sensor here. You have to put your sensor here, and this is the thermal sensor. This is the thermal sensor. So initial temperature of the thermal sensor is 0 degree Celsius. Suddenly you are dipping to a temperature of the fluid which is having a temperature of 10 degree Celsius. So you can see how the sensor will respond. The initial temperature of the sensor was 0 degree Celsius, and the temperature of the fluid is going to be 10 degrees Celsius. So this is the sensor temperature and this is going to be fluid temperature. So after some time, or I can say in steady state, the temperature of the sensor is going to be equal to the temperature of the fluid, because this is how you are going to measure the temperature of the bathtub, temperature of the bathtub, right? So with the help of this sensor, you are going to measure the temperature of the bathtub. So this sensor should show 10 degrees Celsius, but it will not so suddenly. It will not so suddenly. It will take some time to settle to the 10 degrees Celsius. It will start from 0 degrees Celsius. It will increase and then it will settle to 10 degrees Celsius. So this behavior we are studying in the dynamic characteristics, or the response we are getting as dynamic response. To analyze the behavior of the system with respect to inputs that vary suddenly. So here you can see the input is from 0 degrees Celsius. You have to measure the temperature of a bath which is at 10 degrees Celsius. So you can see sudden 10 degrees Celsius change is happening, but the sensor will not sense 10 degrees Celsius temperature suddenly. It will take some time to respond. And this thing I am telling, that it will take some time to respond. How you can find how much time it is taking to respond. So those behaviors you can analyze using the dynamic response of the sensor. Understood? So now our task is, this is the first step. Our task is to obtain the mathematical model of the system. Once you obtain the mathematical model, then you have to apply these inputs. So what is this input? This input is like this step input, and then we will find the response, how the sensor is settling to 10 degrees Celsius after how much time. Those things we will find after we are obtaining the dynamic response, after we obtain the transfer function of the system, right? So let's start with the first step. We are going to take the thermal sensor. Let's obtain the transfer function. Once we obtain the transfer function, then we are going to apply this step input, and then we will find the dynamic response. Correct? Okay, let me erase this. I hope you understood. In summary, if I have to tell, then I can say the this fluid temperature was 10 degrees Celsius. Now you have to sense that fluid temperature, so the sensor will not respond to this fluid temperature suddenly. It will take some time to respond, though here you are showing that the sensor will sense the 10 degrees Celsius from 0 degrees Celsius, but input is changing suddenly but output will not change suddenly. Sensor will take some time to respond, and that behavior we are finding using the dynamic characteristics. For that, the first step is going to be mathematical modeling, right? So the first step is going to be mathematical modeling. So so we are obtaining the transfer function. So here we are obtaining the transfer function of the thermal sensor. So let's say at t equal to 0 minus. Meaning of 0 minus is that before you are dipping your sensor in the fluid, this is my fluid which is at temperature of 10 degrees Celsius, and now you are dipping your sensor. So before you have dipped your sensor, what is the temperature of the sensor? Let's say we are assuming that it's 0 degree. Okay, so the initial temp at t equal to 0 minus, at t equal to 0 minus, you have to in the steady state, what is the sensor temperature and fluid temperature? Both will be same. Okay, sensor temperature equal to fluid temperature. Okay, so in mathematical term, how you can write sensor temperature is Ts of 0 minus equal to Tf of 0 minus. So when this is case, this case is, this is my bathtub and here is my sensor. Okay, and the initial temperature here is 0 degrees Celsius. We have to increase it to 10 degrees Celsius. This is our aim. We have to increase the input to input suddenly. So here we have to increase our temperature from 10 degrees Celsius to 0 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius. So 0 degrees Celsius to 10 degree Celsius. But at t equal to 0 minus, just you are dipping the sensor, the temperature is 0 degrees Celsius. That's why the sensor temperature and fluid temperature is going to be same. This is the first case, right? Now let's say at t equal to, at t equal to 0, at t equal to 0. So at t equal to 0, what you are doing, you are suddenly increasing the temperature of the fluid from 0 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius. So sudden increase in fluid temperature from 0 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius. So how sensor will respond? Will the sensor sense 10 degrees Celsius suddenly? No, it will take some time to respond. That's why we are finding the dynamic response. So we have increased the fluid temperature from 0 degree to 10 degrees Celsius suddenly at t equal to 0. So the sensor will not be in the steady state, and you can define the dynamic behavior with the help of heat balance equation. One heat balance equation will come. Heat balance equation. Okay. See, at t equal to 0 minus, your fluid temperature was 0 degrees Celsius and you have dipped your sensor. At t equal to 0 means at t equal to 0 starting time, you have increased your fluid temperature from 0 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius, and you are expecting that your sensor should sense this 10 degrees Celsius, but it will not sense this 10 degrees Celsius suddenly, right? So here you can see steady state is there. The fluid temperature and the sensor temperature both are 0 degrees Celsius. Here, this is my fluid temperature TF of 0 minus. This is my sensor temperature TS of 0 minus, and both are same at 0 degrees Celsius. In steady state, you are not increasing the temperature of the fluid. In first case, you are not going to increase the temperature of the fluid. Here, temperature of the fluid and the temperature of the sensor both are same. In the second case, you are increasing the temperature of the fluid from 0 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius. So here the steady state behavior is changed. Steady state behavior is changed, right? And that steady state behavior is changed. So how you are finding the dynamic response? So this you can find using the heat balance equation. You can see you have increased the temperature of the fluid. So some heat from the fluid will go into the will be absorbed by the sensor, right? So heat transfer will take place from, let me highlight this highlighter. So heat transfer will take place from from this fluid to the sensor. This is how, otherwise how how the sensor temperature will increase from 0 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius. Something heat change, heat transfer should happen, right? So fluid temperature, here you can say sensor temperature is going to increase slowly or fast. Those behaviors we are finding using the dynamic response. Okay. Okay, so uh, at t equal to 0, when the temperature of the fluid we have increased, so now this derivation you have to do, because it will take a lot of time to derive. Okay, I will skip some of the steps, you can try it at home. Okay, so at t equal to 0, you when you have increased the temperature of the fluid, then temperature of the fluid at 0 is going to be more than temperature of the sensor, because at this time the sensor temperature will increase suddenly. Sorry, it will take some time to increase the temperature of the sensor, right? So how heat balance equation will take place? Rate of heat inflow will be equal to rate of heat outflow plus rate of change of sensor heat content. Rate of heat inflow minus rate of heat outflow equal to rate of change of sensor heat content, right? Some heat heat transfer will take place between sensor and the fluid. So this is my fluid temperature TF, and here is my sensor, and sensor temperature is TS. So in order to get back to the steady state, this sensor temperature should increase. So how it will increase? Heat transfer will take place from fluid to the sensor. Heat transfer will take place from fluid to the sensor. So from sensor point of view, what is the rate of heat inflow? What is the rate of heat inflow at a particular point of time? At a particular point of time, minus from where you have started. You have started with 0 minus. So this is the rate of heat inflow, and you can multiply with u into a. So u is the overall heat transfer coefficient and a is the effective heat area. So this is going to be rate of heat inflow. What is the rate of heat outflow? From here, is the sensor temperature is the sensor is transferring any heat to the fluid? No, because sensor is sensing the temperature. So you can see here is that the temperature of the fluid is increased. So sensor temperature should increase, it will not decrease. So rate of heat outflow is going to be 0 here. What is the third? So you can see the net result is rate of change of sensor heat content. So sensor heat content is changing, and what is the rate? So rate is going to be sensor temperature at a particular point of time minus sensor temperature from where you have started at 0 degrees Celsius, d upon dt, and you can multiply with some constants m into c. Okay, so m is the mass of the sensor and c is the specific heat of the sensor material. Okay, so if you put all these equations here, if you put all these terms in this equation here, you are going to get the transfer function. And what is the transfer function? This you have to derive. The transfer function you will get is t d upon dt delta t of s plus delta t of s equal to delta t of f, or or more precisely you can say that it's going to be k upon 1 plus s tau. If you take the Laplace transform, you're going to get this. So this side will be fluid temperature, this side will be sensor temperature, Ts, this side will be Tf. Okay, so we are uh, in pretty good shape uh, when we are determining the mathematical, when we are determining the transfer function using the mathematical modeling. So our first step is done. Now we are able to obtain the transfer function of a thermal sensor with the help of mathematical modeling. Now what is the next step to analyze the behavior of the system? Next step is to apply different input and observe the output. So let's apply some of the input and observe the output. So this was my thermal sensor, this was my thermal sensor, and we have obtained the mathematical model of this thermal sensor as k upon 1 plus s tau. We have obtained the mathematical model. Now we have to apply certain inputs. So let's say the temperature of the fluid increased from 0 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius. So this is my step input. This is my step input. What would be the output? There would be certain response. We don't know at this point of time. We have to derive, right? So this is going to be step response. Next, in next case, you are increasing from 0 degrees Celsius and it is increasing with a certain rate. Like let's say the temperature of the fluid is increasing at 5 degrees Celsius per second. For every 1 second, the temperature is increasing at the rate of 5 degrees Celsius. So your input is going to be ramp input. See, when I say ramp input or when I say step input, it doesn't mean that you're applying this signal. Your input is changing at a particular rate. If your input is changing suddenly, then the response, then the input resembles like a step signal. If the temperature of the fluid means if the input temperature is increasing at a particular rate, then the input signal will resembles that of a ramp input, right? Or or another case, if the input is swinging across a certain value, let's say if it is swinging across 0 degrees Celsius and it's going to 40 degrees Celsius and minus 40 degrees Celsius, then you can see here is that the input signal resembles like a sinusoidal signal. So for ramp input, you will get certain response, and this we call as ramp response. Okay. Similarly, for the sinusoidal input, you know, because the signal waveform is not going to change, only amplitude and frequency is going to change. Only amplitude and frequency will change. Sorry, amplitude and phase will change. Sorry, my bad. Amplitude and phase will change, but frequency will remain the same. Frequency will remain the same. So you know the shape of the waveform. That's why I have drawn the output response. In these two cases, I have not drawn the output response. Okay. So this is going to be sinusoidal response. More precisely, we used to say, let me change the color. More precisely, we used to say these two, step input and ramp input as, and this step response and ramp response, this will call as time response or time domain analysis. If you're applying the sinusoidal input and you're observing the output, then output we used to call as frequency response or frequency domain analysis. Frequency domain analysis. Okay. So, so in the first step, we obtain the mathematical model. In the second step, we have to apply the input. Now we have not applied the input. We are just seeing like how the input will resembles. If the temperature is increasing suddenly, then input signal will resembles like a step. With the help of transfer function, we have to obtain the response. Correct. So we will take one by one input and we will observe the output. First we will take the step input. With the help of this transfer function, we will obtain the response. Then we will see like in the data what we have taken as example. The initial temperature of the fluid was 0 degrees Celsius. It increased to 10 degrees Celsius. So whether the sensor will respond suddenly or whether the sensor will take some time to respond, those things we can find by finding the dynamic response of the sensor. So let's apply certain step input and find the output. Then in the subsequent maybe by today or maybe by the next class, we can apply various other inputs and then we can find the response. So this we will do with the first order instrument. Again we will do the same for the second order instrument. We will take certain examples of the second order instruments, like elastic sensor is the very good example of the second order instrument. There also we will obtain the mathematical model to find the transfer function. Once you find the transfer function, then you have to apply various inputs and find the response. So so it like in order to derive this, it's better that we can go with the some of the examples, because if I will go and derive, it will take too much time to the otherwise this session will be very long. Okay, so that's why I'm taking one example, and from this numerical we will study how the input is there, how the input signal behavior is there, and how we can obtain the output, how we can obtain the dynamic response of the sensor. So you can read the question, you can pause the video and read the question. A liquid in the glass thermometer can be considered as a single capacity system with the time constant of 3.5 second with unity gain. Okay, if it is quickly taken from a temperature of 0 degrees Celsius to a water bath of 100 degrees Celsius, then reading indicated by the thermometer after 1.5 second will be dash degrees Celsius. Okay, pause the video, read the question twice, then it will be easy for you to understand. So what is the uh, what is the content of this question? We are having a temperature bath, and what is the initial temperature of the temperature bath? 0 degrees Celsius. Now you have put your thermometer here. So this is in steady state. So what this temperature will show? Definitely it will show 0 degrees Celsius. So at t equal to 0 minus, before increasing the temperature of the fluid, or here before increasing the temperature of the water bath, what is the sensor temperature at 0 minus 0 degrees Celsius? What is the fluid temperature at 0 minus 0 degrees Celsius? Now what you are doing, you are going to increase the temperature, you are going to increase the temperature of this fluid from 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius, and you are expecting that this sensor should sense this 100 degrees Celsius as fast as possible, right? So so at t equal to 0, when you have increased the temperature from 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius suddenly, mind the words suddenly. Okay, so what is the sensor temperature? Will it be 100 degrees Celsius? But fluid, sorry, 0 plus. Okay, so but fluid temperature is 100 degrees Celsius. So what should be the temperature Ts of 0 plus? This we have to find with the help of dynamic response of the sensor. This is the question. So after 1.5 second, what is the temperature of the sensor, right? So I am not going to derive, otherwise the video could be very long. But I would recommend you to derive the first order equation and first order system thermal sensors, and then you will apply the input. But as of now, we have already derived. So the transfer function is going to be k by 1 plus s tau. Okay, and what is k? K is the gain, but here we are having unity gain, so this is going to be 1 by 1 plus s tau. What is tau? Tau is the time constant, right? And what is the time constant? 3.5 seconds. So this is going to be 1 by 1 plus 3s. So this is my mathematical model of the thermal sensor 1 plus 3s. What is the input? The input is increase or change in the temperature from 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius suddenly. What we have to find? We have to find the initial temperature of the sensor is also 0 degrees Celsius at steady state. But after 1.5 second, what is going to be the temperature of the sensor? After 1.5 second, what is going to be the temperature of the sensor? Okay. So pause the video and try to solve, and if you are able to solve, then you can match the answer. Okay, if you're not able to solve, don't worry, we are having a few more examples you can solve. Okay, and in the previous year, from the previous year also, you can practice some of the questions, right? So let's start how we can solve this. So our temperature sensor we have modeled as 1 by 1 plus 3s. We are increasing the temperature of the fluid from 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius, and we have to find what is the response of the sensor at 1.5 second. At 1.5 second. Okay, so you can see this is the step. This resembles that of a step signal, right? So how we can write the input? Input is change in the fluid temperature, and this is 100 by s. In Laplace form, you can write as 100 upon s. And how you can find the output? This is going to be delta tf of s, right? And you know the transfer function delta t. This is going to be a sensor now, ts, huh? So delta t of s upon delta tf of s equal to 1 by 1 k by 1 plus s tau. Here k is 1 and tau is going to be 3, so k by 1 by 1 plus 3s. Your delta t of f is going to be 100 by s, so delta t of s is going to be 100 by s multiplied with 1 by 1 plus 3s, right? So from here you have to find the delta t of s, right? So I would recommend you that you should derive this equation with the help of partial fraction. You can find what is the value of, you can write as a by s plus b by 1 plus 3s, and then you can find the value of a and b to find the to find this value. We are doing the partial fraction. From there we can you can find the a and b value. Once you find the a and b value, then you can trace it back to the you can take the inverse Laplace transform, and then you can obtain in terms of time, right? Time domain, because you want to find what is the response of the sensor after 1.5 seconds. So in general, the sensor temperature ts of t is going to be ts of infinity plus ts of 0 minus ts of infinity into e to the power minus t by tau. So this you have to derive. I would recommend you please derive this. Okay, so let's put the value. Ts of t, we want to find the temperature at what time? 1.5 seconds. Ts of infinity. Now you understand in this way. If you leave the sensor in that particular fluid for infinite time, then what will happen? You have increased the temperature of the fluid to 100 degrees Celsius. So after infinite time, the temperature of the sensor will also reach the steady state to 100 value. This is how you can analyze. So temperature of the sensor at steady state is going to be 100 degree Celsius plus. Ts of 0 minus, when you started to increase the temperature of the fluid from 0 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius, what was the sensor temperature? Sensor temperature was 0 degrees Celsius, right? So this is going to be 0 degrees Celsius minus Ts of infinity, again 100 degrees Celsius, e to the power minus t by tau. T is, you want to find at 1.5 second what is the temperature, by tau. Tau is 3.5 seconds. If you go on calculate this, you are going to get 34.86 degrees Celsius. See, I am going very slowly for this question, so such that you can understand. See, solving the question and solving the numerical is not a big deal. You have to understand the concept behind the question and how you are approaching the questions. See, if you are able to understand this concept, the this is not merely a step input. If you are thinking that this is something a step input, then yes, this is a step input, but you have to analyze how this signal we are representing as a step input. Why not ramp, right? So these things you have to analyze. So the first question I have done very slowly. Next question you have to do. Okay, so this is the second question. Pause the video and try the question and write the this answer in the comment section. Comment section is open for you. You can write the answer of this question. A first order thermometer is initially at a temperature of 25 degrees Celsius. So the temperature of the sensor is, this is my sensor. The initial temperature means Ts of 0 minus is 25 degrees Celsius, is suddenly placed in a liquid which is maintained at 300 degrees Celsius. So the temperature of the fluid is going to be Tf of 0 plus or 0 is 300 degrees Celsius. If the thermometer indicates 200 degrees Celsius after a time interval of 3 seconds, see, at 0 minus it's 25 degrees Celsius. So at 0 it's 300 degrees Celsius. So you are expecting let's assume that the initial temperature of the fluid is 0 degrees Celsius, and at t equal to 0 you are going to increase the temperature of the fluid to 300 degrees Celsius. What was the sensor temperature initially? The sensor temperature was 25 degrees Celsius, right? So this should change na, the initial temperature should change, right? So this is at 25 degrees Celsius. Now you are expecting that the temperature of the sensor should go to 300 degrees Celsius. We don't know the exact behavior how the shape is, but it will go to 300 degrees Celsius. It will not go suddenly, it will take some time to go. For that you have to find the transfer function k by 1 plus s tau, right? So obtain the transfer function, or you already know the transfer function, right? You have to put these values in the response that we found. Delta t s of t equal to ts of infinity plus ts of 0 minus ts of infinity into e to the power minus t by tau. Okay, so pause the video and try to solve this question and obtain the answer, and write the answer in the comment section. I will review. Okay, Okay, so step input is done. Now we will take ramp input and we will find the response. A thermocouple can be considered as a single capacitive system with a time constant of 100 millisecond and unity gain. It is immersed in a heat bath whose temperature is varied at 1 degree Celsius per second from 0 degree Celsius. So what is the question? This is my heat bath. This is my heat bath. What is the initial temperature? This side I'm writing. The sensor initial temperature 0 minus is 0 degree Celsius, right? So if you are dipping your sensor here, what should be the sensor temperature at 0 degree Celsius? The sensor temperature, this is fluid temperature, sorry. So sensor temperature at 0 degree Celsius should also be 0 degree Celsius. Sensor temperature at 0 time should also be 0 degree Celsius. This is the steady state. Now what you are doing, you are increasing the temperature of the fluid from 0 degree Celsius to 70 degrees Celsius, but not suddenly, with a rate of 1 degree Celsius per second. Means in every 1 second, you are going to increase the temperature by 1 degree Celsius. So from this 0 degree Celsius, you are going to increase the temperature to 70 degrees Celsius of the fluid, not suddenly, but at a rate of 1 degree Celsius per second, right? And you are supposed to find when the temperature is 70 degrees Celsius, what is the reading of the thermocouple? Okay, so so the initial temperature of the sensor is also 0 degrees Celsius. What should be the temperature of the sensor, right? When the temperature of the heat bath is going to be 70 degrees Celsius. So this also you have to derive the transfer function to find the generalized response of the sensor. So I would write here generalized response. You have to derive this. So Ts of t is going to be t minus tau plus tau e to the power minus t upon tau u of t. T is the time, minus tau is the time constant. And yeah, so you have to find the sensor temperature at a particular time. This you can find by putting the value of time constant. Okay, so uh, you can put these values, right? So what is that sensor temperature at 70 at so what is the time, when it will reach the steady state? It will reach at 70 seconds, right? If the temperature is increasing at the rate of 1 degree Celsius per second, so in order to reach 70 degrees Celsius, how much time it will take? It will take 70 seconds. So what is the time? The time is 70 seconds. Ts of 70 seconds. So this t is going to be 70 minus tau. Tau is, what is the tau? Tau is 100 milliseconds. So this is going to be zero point 0.1 plus zero point 0.1 into e to the power minus t. T is 70 seconds upon tau. Tau is zero point 0.1. Calculate the value and write down your answer in the comment section. So we have taken the input as step input, we found the response. We have taken as ramp input, we found the response. Now let's try for the sinusoidal input. Okay, so a single capacity thermal sensor is subjected with the input temperature which is varying suddenly with an amplitude of 10 degrees Celsius at around zero mean temperature at 1 radians per second. Means zero is the mean temperature. From here it is the temperature of the fluid is increasing from 10 degrees Celsius, and then it's going to minus 10 degrees Celsius. So the behavior of the input is like this. So how the signal will look like? The signal will look like sinusoidal input. So now you have to find what is the, you have to draw the waveform and you have to find what is the AC component, what is the amplitude of the AC component in the sensor at steady state, right? So this is my sensor, and the sensor was time constant, sorry, sensor transfer function 1 by 1 plus s tau, k by 1 plus s tau. You are applying the sinusoidal input, you have to find the response. So you already know that when we are doing the frequency domain analysis, then amplitude and phase is going to be same. Only frequency, yeah, so amplitude and phase is going to change and frequency will remain constant. Okay, frequency will remain constant. So apply this input and find the response. So first thing you have to do is to find the generalized response of the sensor with respect to the sinusoidal input. This is what we are doing. Once you found the generalized response, then you can apply to any input and found the output. That will be easy for you, and this will be good for you to derive and understand, right? So the first task you have to do is derive the transfer function of first order sensor, first order instrument. Second task is to derive the input, derive the dynamic response of the sensor with respect to the step input. Third task is to derive the dynamic response of the sensor with respect to ramp input, and then also you have to find with respect to sinusoidal input. Once you found the generalized response, I have already written the general response. Ts of t equal to Ts of infinity plus Ts of 0 minus Ts of infinity into e to the power minus t by tau for a step input. For ramp also t minus tau plus e to the power minus t by tau u of t. So this you have to find for the ramp. For sinusoidal you have to also derive. So in general, if it is a sine omega t plus phi, then this will be b sine omega t plus phi 1. And how you can obtain b is going to be amplitude of a multiplied with the amplitude of this, amplitude of the transfer function, amplitude of gs at omega equal to input frequency. Similarly you can find the phase also. So you have to find the amplitude here. So from this shortcut you can find, but I would recommend you to derive the dynamic response of the first order instrument, that is thermal sensor, with respect to the sinusoidal input. From here you can derive it is easily, right? What is the amplitude? The amplitude is going to be 10 10 into 1 by 1 plus s tau, and tau is, and omega is going to be 1, tau is going to be 1. Okay, so this you can find 10 into 1 by 1 square root. This is going to be 1 by root 2, 1 by root 2, right? So from where we have started with the dynamic response of the sensor. We have derived the first order instrument. We know how to find the dynamic response. There are two steps. First step is to find the transfer function. How you can find the transfer function? With the help of mathematical modeling. We found the transfer function. Once you found the transfer function, apply various input and observe the output. What we did, we applied this step input, we applied ramp input, we applied sinusoidal input, we found the response, right? When I say when we applied ramp input, we doesn't apply ramp signal, but the input is varying such that the input signal resembles like that of a ramp, right? Here the temperature, if the temperature of the sensor, if the temperature of the fluid is increasing from 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius, but at a certain rate, then the signal will look like a ramp signal, right? So this is going to be the input. Once with the help of mathematical modeling, you found the transfer function, find the response, then that response is known as ramp response of the first order instrument with respect to the ramp input. Okay, so we have covered almost all the topics of first order instruments dynamic characteristics. We are left with the second order instruments. We will cover in the next class. What is your task? Your task is to derive and practice the mathematical model of the first order instrument, apply various inputs, find the generalized response, and then you have to practice a lot of questions. See, we are here in a crash course, so I have not covered those things, but in the full courses we are having a full series of lectures, and all these things are derived uh, in a very good way. All these things are derived, and we are doing a lot of questions. Here we have taken only 4 questions, but we are having more than 20 questions for only for the dynamic response. I am taking 9 hours of lecture for the dynamic characteristics of the sensor, right? So I would recommend you to practice and practice and practice. That's it. Thank you and stay tuned to IGC team.